Good morning, my dear friends. Morning, you say? Yes, it is morning. What time in the morning? 3:58. It is almost 4 in the morning. But it's morning, and I have not slept. I tried. For almost 3 hours I laid in bed. In the dark, no more than 3 hours. I went to bed at about midnight. I did not get up until 3:30. For 3.5 hours I lay in bed, light off, tossing and turning. Woke up a couple of times because guess what? I'm writing again. I wrote two complete poems and finished another one. That was exciting. Part of what kept me awake. But it's still very frustrating to be unable to sleep. I will share some of that poetry with you later. For now, I have a story for you that has to do with my lovely insomnia. Apparently, it is... Oh, there we go, getting a little bit tired. It is a little bit genetic to be awake at all hours of the night. My father suffers horrible insomnia. He will go for a couple of days without sleeping if there's even the slightest thing on his mind. And when I was out there visiting him this summer before last, we stayed up all night talking, which we did several times, because, we had a lot to talk about, having not seen each other very much in years. And I think we were talking about religion, so it got to be a bit of a heated discussion on his side, and I was more like intimidated. He can be a bit hostile when it comes to religion. It's interesting, because he initiated the conversation. Anyway, we looked out the window and realized that the sun had risen, and we had stuff to do that day. And we were joking with each other, and somehow the words old man came out of my mouth, and something about him not being able to have as much energy as I did, which led to a bet. Who could stay awake the longest? We had neither of us, been getting much sleep anyway, so it's not like we were starting this well rested. So we talked to Jenny about it, his girlfriend, and we told her, okay, we'll still have fun at the zoo tomorrow and everything, but we have to do this. So it began. In the middle of the day, our first full day of being awake, my brother Doran called, who I had not seen in 8 years, and my father had not seen in a few months. I'm going to be near the edge of Wyoming, near Salt Lake, and I was wondering if you guys could come pick me up. And I would come visit with you for a day before I continue on this little trip I'm going on. So, Dad and I, not having slept for about 18 hours at this point, hopped into the car and picked Doran up. So, my first meeting with Doran, I was rather exhausted. And so this bet continued on while Doran was there. We went to the zoo the next day with Doran and my little brother Max and my dad and Jenny and Jenny's grandmother. It wasn't quite... I don't remember exactly when it was. I remember that halfway through the day at the zoo we had hit 40 hours of no sleep. So, yeah. We went to the zoo, and I was exhausted. My father was exhausted as well. But it was one of the most horrific experiences of my life, walking around that zoo. I will never do something like that again. I started losing parts of the day. At one point in time, my dad had a cup of Pepsi, and he handed it to me. We were sitting, I still remember, in the little giraffe house. So I sat down, holding my father's Pepsi. I went to take a sip, and it was Mountain Dew. Somewhere, my father had returned, gotten his soda, and my brother had given me his Mountain Dew to hold. And I was unaware of that. It completely passed without my knowledge. I was conscious, but I completely zoned out. Did that several times during the day. I don't remember a lot of that day. Half of what I said came out of my mouth, and then I was like, why did I talk? I wasn't going to talk. I had no control over anything. My brain was just dying. Long story short, close to 60 hours in, we were driving Doran back to where he had to go. And the next thing I knew, my father and I were fighting. We had not argued at all the entire time I had been there, but we were arguing quite vehemently about something. And suddenly I burst into tears. I don't even know what we're arguing about! Because I didn't. I don't know, to this day, what the beginning of the conversation was. No idea. So we dropped Doran off, and then Dad had to drive. And we got a little ways and started fighting again, and all of a sudden Dad looked at me, and he said, "The bet is off!" And at 60 hours, we pulled over and fell asleep on the side of the road in the mountains in Wyoming. And we slept for probably 5 hours, then Dad woke up and drove us back, and I slept for almost 24 hours after that. So that's the longest I've ever been awake in one stretch. I've gone much longer with very brief amounts of sleep. I think I broke something in here when that happened. I don't handle not sleeping near as well as I used to. It was a very bad experience. Oh, and right after the zoo, Dad and Doran decided they wanted to go see the newest zombie movie. So, of course, not wanting to be left out, even though it's not my kind of movie, I went to see, I think it was Land of the Dead, I don't know, whatever the latest one of those that has come out. And so we went to see a zombie movie, and my dad said, "You know, you're so tired, this is probably all going to soak into your subconscious, and you'll have nightmares, waking nightmares for the rest of your life." Thankfully, that's not true. In fact, I found it kind of funny. But there is something kind of scary about going to see a zombie movie while a zombie yourself. I ate a lot. That was how I kept my energy up, a lot of eating. So that's insomnia and me. And this was very pointless. But I feel a little bit more tired now. I have a whole 2 hours to sleep, so I might go try to do that. Goodbye.